Hey guys, we are back here again with another episode. Today's episode is on LGBTQ plus rights and also mental health within the LGBTQ plus community. Today we have Pembe and Janae as our guest speakers, and they will be telling us about themselves and their experiences as well. So guys, I don't know who would like to start.
I'm happy to start if I got to. I'm going to swing that back down the line though. I'm going to swing that back.
Introduce yourself and just let us know who you are and what it is that you do as well.
Okay, so I am Pembe Tokbahan and I am the founder of P-Top Productions, which is a women and non-binary led production company for women and non-binary people working behind the scenes, screens and lens. I'm also a multidisciplinary backstage creative. I specialise in everything backstage, from stage management to production management to audio. And I'm also a youth worker and work with empowering young people that are from racially minoritized communities.
Okay.
Wow, am I supposed to follow that?
I mean, you want me to go first.
All right. My name is Janae Debuse. I am the head of music and events for a college local to here, and also an artist, musician and sound engineer for vocals specifically. I think that's just me.
What do you mean that's just you? No, man, that's big things. That's big things.
That's true. That's your progression. It's different areas, but they're both still big. Similar, but different. Yeah. So, so obviously in today's podcast, we'll be talking about the community and how things have progressed. I would like to assume you guys are from two different age groups.
What are you saying, love?
No, nothing too extreme.
I'm the older one. It's all right. It's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah. So obviously, you guys' experiences could be similar or different. So it's coming from two different perspectives. So we're going to also elaborate on that as well. So my first question is, how do you feel the community has progressed? Basically, like the progression over time with like rights and laws that's been in place and people's perspectives as well.
That's a big topic. Are we going progressed? How many years are we talking over?
I will say from where you can start from.
Where I can start from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the best way to start.
No, take that.
I think when I started realising my beingness,
your amazingness,
my wonderfulness. I think I'll go for my age. So when I was 15, people were telling me that I was lesbian. So I didn't realise that. I didn't know that. And there was quite a bit of stigma around changing rooms and stuff like that. People were speaking about it behind my back and things. And I was like, I'm not though, am I? I liked my art teacher. Thinking back, and I liked a few artists. I liked Pink. Funnily enough, I didn't know why. I thought, I haven't got a brother or sister, so maybe it's that. Maybe I'm inspired by them. And my kind of upbringing was not very diverse in any kind of sense, to be honest. So for me, it was from my home life. It wasn't really accepted because that was how my parents were brought up and their parents were brought up. So I was kind of like a first generation. But I want to be me. I don't know who I am, but I want to be it. So my first experience of going out into the venturing ways was going to heaven.
Everyone's been to heaven.
Everyone's been to heaven, but just for the record, if we don't know what heaven is, it's under the arches. It is in central London, and it is one of the most infamous places to go to if you're coming out or trying to be in the community. So it's kind of like the Soho realms. Whereabouts it is? Charing Cross, isn't
Charing
it?
Cross Station, yeah.
But it's all around that area, so you've got a big culture, and you've really felt you can only go there to be yourself. You couldn't express yourself in normal lands. You couldn't, normal lands like medieval times.
I know, right?
But in day-to-day life, express yourself. I wore some weird things. I cut my hair off when I was younger and got annihilated for it. And then I was wearing weird clothes and stuff. I was trying to express myself. I didn't know what it was, but it didn't resonate with people. And it was sort of made me a sort of focal point or the weird one. So I was, thankfully in school, I was kind of the middle range. I didn't really get any problems, but I was the weird one. Just going through there, when I went to heaven, I kind of realised, there's people like me. I didn't know what like me meant, but everyone was a bit more themselves. Everyone was expressing themselves in fabulous ways. You had beautiful drag queens. You had people just dressing how they wanted, being how they wanted, and that was a safe space. Yeah. And as soon as you left there, maybe slightly tipsy-topsy, and you're going home, then you were left being yourself, and then you can't go back into the real life again, and then you get people looking at you, and you've kind of get your bubble popped a little bit, and you go home, and things go back to normal. So there was nothing really for us in that time. I say us as in we, but in a community sense, it very much seemed like you had to go to your place. There was only that place you can go to. You couldn't express yourself normally, and if you did, you was kind of like side-eyed, which I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know it was any different, so I expected that was it. So that I'm talking, that's kind of like the 2000s up to the 2010s kind of era. That was that. So that's 10 years ago. I don't know if you want to jump on the next timeline wagon, because I've just talked quite a bit. So
I'm a bit young to jump on it yet.
Well,
you get to 2010, mate.
All right.
I'm not ready yet.
Are you born yet?
I definitely was born.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
great. Cool.
I mean, I was close for a long time, so.
So let's go for your era of coming out. If it was different to mine, let's go for that. So I'm trying to gauge your
let's
age
just
now.
get it out there. I'm 23 years old. How old are you? Do you know?
35 next month.
Okay, so we've got about 12, let's call it 10 to be kind. We've got a 10-year gap. I think that for me, culture had a big role to also play, as well as religion, as well as the environment that I was growing up in, with the kind of openness to the non-heteronormative world. So I was 14 years old, which was 10 years ago now, and just after 2010. And I kind of had to tell my parents, because I didn't have an option not to, because I needed to see my partner at the time. And it was always your friend. That's your friend, and after a while that really takes a toll on you, because it's, how would you feel if your boyfriend was introduced as your friend or your girlfriend or whatever it is, So for me, I think that it was a lot more difficult, and a bit like you, I'd get a lot of people that kind of go, oh, there's that lesbian. Oh, look at that tomboy, that's still a tomboy. She's still wearing tracksuits. Yeah, the tomboy. And all these kind of comments about being a lesbian, or, certain words that I genuinely do not want to say.
Yeah, no need to list.
No need to list the horrible words.
Yeah,
but
plenty.
I think when I look back now, to where that was even 10 years ago, there's definitely a lot that's changed, and it's become a lot more easier for younger generations to feel as though they can belong in a community, because communities are a lot more open. But I also know that the same a young white person who might be from an LGBTQ plus community might be approached and accepted, whether that's by their family or society. And I know the difference between a racially minoritized person. So in that aspect, although things have definitely got better and there's change coming and has come, I think there's still a lot of way to go. Yeah.
I agree with that. And I think where you were saying about particular, how do I put it? You've kind of got a community now. I think people have. It's not just going there. It's not just I have to go out to see the people that I want to see, that I can relate to. There are more communities. I think one of the biggest factors for me is social media. As much as we love to hate it and hate to love it and all them kind of things, it's very much, it's connected people. There is now communities, there's now forums, there's now pages, there's now people pioneering it, there's now influencers, people who can express themselves in different ways. And I think for that, I will praise social media, because that's given us a way to communicate and not just have to go to that place. Because even though I remember the first time when I come out, this is definitely showing my age, but we were still on the 3210 Nokias back in the day.
Wow.
And and that's what I think we had our first VGA camera on the phone. It was literally, I think it was the flip phone with a little area on it, like a...
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of that, and you had like a camera, and I remember trying to take a picture of it. Obviously, it wasn't facing, it was going out, it was interesting, but I remember that, and that was my first image that I had from going out, and I was like, this is my image pixelated as hell, like literally just colours. But
it was a good night.
It was a good night. It's really blue, I think, that picture as well, like the lighting. But yeah, that was the kind of memory of it. But I think that we couldn't really capture it as well, so you can't really see the change, given the fact there wasn't really social media. You can't really see the development, so there was probably hidden stuff we can't see. And there's obviously massive, humongous movements. Obviously, Dropping the Equality Act in there that came out for us in 2010.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Yeah.
Forgive that. But that really opens it up, I think. But yeah, I think it just gives us more chance now. And I think you've come into, I don't want to compare our things, but you've come into not a better phase, but a different phase.
Definitely.
To mine, where it's a little bit more chance. But then I'm going to open this up that the minute you get social media and voices and people opening themselves up, that also means more area for attack. So it's gone a two-way thing. You can dislike things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even though there's a like button, there's also comments and trolls and things like that. So the minute we actually get empowered is the minute we actually get stomped on. We become vocal, and therefore someone wants to stop us talking. And I think that's not just for our community, that's for every
the
community.
football just happened, you know, and that definitely saw a side of people that we all knew was there, but...
It's the minute that we try and empower ourselves, regardless of what you're trying to empower, whether it's your personal opinion, whether it's your background, race, culture, whatever it is you're trying to bring out and say, I am me, let me be me, going for the equity on things, you know what I mean? When we're trying to do that, the minute someone says, actually, my opinion is, but where does your opinion come from?
Exactly,
And I think most of it is perspective, upbringing, and lack of love. I think
definitely.
lack of understanding.
I agree with that.
So to go back to the question, because I feel like I've gone into
That's
a
fine.
journey.
That's fine.
But go back to the question, I think we've evolved.
Yeah.
I think we have gone from being a bit primal in our things that, oh my God, male and female have to mate, therefore that is the way it must be. Where love is love, that hashtag will forever go on and be correct. And that's the thing we've got to realise, that everyone's personal relationships are their personal relationships.
It's personal for a reason.
My sexuality has nothing to do with anyone else that I'm not having anything with. So it is not your opinion that matters. You're not seeing it.
Exactly.
And I think, as I say, people mention on PDA, but I don't think people do it. That's the very minority. And that happens in many cultures. So PDA, I mean by public display of affection, just to clear that up.
But that's with anyone.
Any type of couple.
So realistically,
So it's just, everyone should be respected for that.
Yeah.
Express yourself how you are. All we have really is our expression.
Yeah.
That's our uniqueness as a being. And if we don't have that, then who are we? Everything else has been told to us. Everything else is already existing. So all you can be is you. And if I'm not allowed to be that, then what the hell am I doing?
Exactly.
So
one thing I did want to kind of follow up on, as you when Pembe said tomboy, and you both had that same kind of reaction, like how do you guys feel the difference between having that tomboy kind of personality and then there's obviously like the girly girl kind of personality? How do you feel like the depiction of that on like social media or even just in media in general? Because like when you watch some films and there is a couple, or not just a couple, but like if someone does come out as lesbian or even gay, either way, to be honest, there's this stereotype. How do you guys feel about that stereotype?
I mean, we can then go into the descriptions of STEM, studs, butch, femme, lipstick. What's the other ones? I'm sure
Oh my
about
God, there's
200
hundreds
more.
words.
But everyone's trying to, again, identify and put everyone in a box. There's not just, I'm me. So with that, I think everyone's saying, okay, so you've said that you are this, therefore you must fit in one of these boxes. So you pull yourself out of a box to put yourself back in a box.
Yeah.
So I think trying to talk about that in a sense, when you're finding out who you are, you yourself are trying to organise where you are and who you are and how should I dress and do I have to dress like this if I swing this way? Or do you know what I mean? You kind of you do it to yourself, let everyone else is partaking on it. But I don't like titles. I don't like people saying tomboy or whatever derogatory term they want to use. I don't really want to say, I don't even say, to be honest, I'm lesbian. I don't even say that. I'm me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like a cliche term, but it really doesn't matter to anyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's this whole load more to me than that part of me. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
And that part of me isn't used every day, all day. Do you know what I mean? So let's just put that to the side. But I think tomboy thing, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but...
I mean, do you know what?
The words, even the linguistics.
Yeah. Well, it's like when a word's always used in a way that makes you feel bad, after a while you become resentful to that word in a way. And I think the one thing that I find a lot is, especially with young people and the younger generation, which I'll talk a lot about, is this thing around sexual identity crisis. Like, you don't have to dress a certain way to fit into a box or be a certain way. You know, I read a post recently on social media around men and men wanting to be the small spoon and men wanting to get some love and some kisses and some strokes and whatever. And I feel like everyone needs love, you know, and everyone needs to be able to be themselves. And something that comes up quite often is when I'll use a lesbian woman, for example, because I can talk as a lesbian woman on what I think there, but I can't really comment on every other community. And there's only so much I can talk about the lesbian community. But one thing that I see a lot of is, for example, if you're a stud or a tomboy, you kind of almost, a lot of women or non-binary people, if that's how they identify, over time actually start to become resentful to who they are because they're not being true to themselves, because they're being made to feel like, I have to be this way. It's like when a man has to not cry, you know, and it's like, actually those ways of thinking is really detrimental to people's upbringings, well-beings, stability, moving forward, because you don't have to be a label, you know, and you don't have to be your label. You might identify with a certain thing, but you don't have to become that. That's my view on kind of tomboys, and putting people in boxes from very young ages also I think is detrimental. You know, because you grow up and hearing that word might be a trigger, or, you know, you might actually become so hateful to yourself that you do the complete opposite, and you then live a life that you don't want to live. And I can go on and on and on, do you know what I mean? But it I think that putting people in boxes doesn't allow you to be as free, you know, and you shouldn't have to feel like you need to fit in a box. You shouldn't have to, oh, I'm this, or I'm this, or you shouldn't even have to be questioned for what makes you a straight man or a lesbian woman or a trans person. You shouldn't have to be questioned for that. Who you are is who you are. There's Janae, there's Pembe, there's Savannah.
Literally.
You know what I mean?
And I think that, just to add on to that, the images they put up, because I feel there's even, what are you? Identify which type of lesbian you are. It's like, okay, and then you sort of line yourself up, and someone asks you, they literally ask you straight, oh, so what kind of lesbian are you? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm one that likes women. Thank you. That's what type of lesbian I am. They say, oh no, like, what are you attracted to? Because usually it's like butch with femmes or this, that, the other, and they're trying to identify who you are. They're trying to scan you for your identity. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I've got short hair, so that kind of puts me into the masculine side, but I don't really express myself as in any male form. I think I'm quite feminine in my actual physical expression, or actually no, in my verbal and my soul expression. But physically, I'm quite muscular. I love to train, and I haven't got a pair of boobs, so I get stuck with that. And then you got certain things, and people try to put you in a little box again. I'm like, and then you sit there trying to identify who are you, and that's a very young thing to go through as well. I think from the teenage years, identity is a huge thing anyway. Like, who am I? Who am I going to be? How do I link to this person? How do I link to that person? What's my relationships with the world? You're very, very wondrous. Or at least you should be. Some people think, well, I'm in this, and it's not okay to be me because everyone says this about me. Which is obviously where people then get stuck and depressed about their own selves. And I use the word depressed in a sense of just the term of the feeling as opposed to the actual mental health need. But I think I spent a lot of time trying to find out who I am and what I am. I changed from having long hair down to here, big red curly hair when I first come out, and it was part of my expression. My hair, it's my thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just there now. It's obviously very much my thing. It's like you can't not see it. But just there. But then doing whatever I wanted to do with it is sort of, it then put me in a box. And then, how do I dress then? Do I want to dress like this? A lot of my stuff today is one of my expressions of style. Sometimes it's sports clothes, I like training. Sometimes it's pretty leatherish. Black jeans, whatever. I think most people have seen me like that. This is my alternative, more my soul self. Which I'm resonating more with at the moment. I think maybe just because it's sort of wind down, summer's coming out. But again, it's like you still think, oh, what kind of person am I? Am I sending out the right signals? And there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, which I think you mentioned or you was tapping on slightly, was when you sort of have the word boy and something, go back to tomboy. I believe, myself personally, you have a balance of both masculine and feminine. You have to have. We've got X and Y chromosomes, we've got hormones, we've got testosterone, estrogen, we've got the balance. So our expression is a balance of that. How far on a scale are we? And that's very much where we sit as a person. So it doesn't matter whereabouts you are. It doesn't matter about any of that. It's just literally, I tend to feel like I'm middle, as in like I can be either or, and I'm very much central into it. And some people think, well, no, you can't be because your hair's short.
Yeah.
And just the other day, I had a guy, when I went shopping, kept referring to me as him. And, oh, brother, come here. And I'm like, you know, I'm not going to address you because you're seeing my masculine.
Yeah.
You're seeing what you want to see and you're seeing my masculine side.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get offended by it. But to me, I was like, you kept saying it. And I was like, shut up. But
Yeah.
I'm quite contained.
Yeah.
And I just let it slip because I haven't got time to be picking these things. Personally, say what you want to say, you can't affect me. And that's pretty much what I am. You can say all you like, it won't affect me. Because I know who I am. And if you think I'm a dude, all right, goodbye you. You obviously can't tell what a gender is. So good luck.
Literally. Yeah. So, kind of like to elaborate on that. I mean, my experience is not the exact same because it's just not. But I know growing up, I did kind of dress up boyish, if you want to call it that, but I can wear whatever I want. And a lot of people used to question, oh, do you like girls? I'm like, but who told you that? Do you get what I mean? Like, no one explicitly said, oh, not to say no one, I never told you that I like girls, but you're going off of the way that I'm dressed. Why does that matter on how I dress? If I wear clothes from the men's section or the women's section, why is it your concern? What I do is what I do, what you do is what you do. Literally, I mean, people used to ask it all the time. I never gave them a straightforward answer. I'm sure they're still questioning it now. I really don't care. But it is what it is, isn't it?
It is.
So,
it
yeah.
is. It's that box then again. It's
Yeah.
like pictures. Okay, here's the image of what it looks like. I think this is this.
Yeah.
It's like looking at someone's face and just seeing a smile means they're happy.
It
Doesn't, does it?
Yeah.
Like literally the superficial things, what you see on the outside is not what's on the inside. So, okay, because you are wearing tracksuit bottoms, either you are an athlete or you are gay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
Okay,
all
if you
right
want to
then,
take it
and
that way,
because
then
you've
all right.
got this section of you covered
Yeah.
and you're not showing off your assets all the time. Okay, it makes you X or Y or Z.
Yeah.
And I've to add on that, I go to the men's section or the kids section.
Yeah.
I don't
I
mind.
only shop in the men's section apart from my sports bra.
Literally, just
That's
hold your bits
it.
in place and you're all right.
That's it.
So it's
Yeah.
whatever section you want.
Exactly. I mean, the men's section stuff have more range. So
Them clothes
They
are better,
do.
they're
That's
more
what I'm saying.
durable,
So
man.
that's why I'm going over there. It just fits better. I'm sorry if you get offended.
Yeah,
That's
they get more
your
style
business.
because even what you can't see them when they're off screen. My trousers, they're men's. And I thought, how are they men's? Why has someone said they're men's? Who said they're men's?
Yeah.
They're not. They're not. It's like, who said that? Someone said, I decided these are men's.
Yeah.
And when you look at things, even if you're looking at trainers, they have the men's and the women's. I'm looking at it thinking, what is the difference?
That's literally. We was having this discussion the other day. Actually, we was actually having.
And I
This
really
discussion.
sat there for ages looking
Yeah.
at what is the difference. I was thinking,
Yeah.
is there a style
There's a bit of
change?
gloss on the girlier one.
Possibly,
A
like a
bit of
little bit
madness
sparkles,
Yeah.
on the boys' one,
sparkles,
yeah.
and pink.
Yeah, and pink.
But pink
Because
is actually a
'Cause
masculine
pink
color.
obviously has
It was
to be.
originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
salmon pink.
masculine.
But we owned it somehow, females.
Yeah.
And
Because-
boys are for
That's
girls.
what
And boys are
But-
boys are for girls.
Why
Blue
not?
is for girls.
Yeah,
I mean, blue is for
Blue is
boys.
for
Why
boys.
can I
Yeah.
not
what
say
it means, Savannah. We know
But
what
it
you
can be.
mean.
You're actually saying what's
I meant to
correct.
say, yeah.
You're
yeah.
saying what's
Oh,
correct.
sorry.
Because blue is also for girls. So actually, you're
blue-
aligning correctly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the right thing.
Yes.
But they say,
exactly.
oh, when people used to ask me, what's your favorite color? Blue and purple. And I'm like, but blue's for boys. Who told you that?
But the minute you're born,
Yeah.
you're brought up into these clothes.
Yeah.
You're conditioned from the minute you woke up.
Yeah.
It's that heteronormative world that we live in.
Yeah,
It's true.
and this is what you have to wear. You're a female, therefore you're in pink. Your room is pink, your clothes are pink,
Yeah.
your toys are pink, and here is Barbie.
Yeah.
You can even talk.
And you can't even
Yeah.
talk. And this is what you get. And from a growth perspective as a child, from 0 to 7, you don't really have your own thoughts and stuff. You do
Yeah.
in a way, you can navigate, but everything you are told and what you see, everything is going into as programming.
Yeah.
And from that minute, parents have such a big responsibility in growing up their children, and the teachers, the parents, the family, everybody that has an influence as an older person, as an adult around that child, even siblings, they will influence that child's view of themselves, view of the world. And if they're told that pink is for girls, then pink is for girls. If we then done the opposite, let's do a chemical experiment,
Yeah.
and we actually decided to grow up a child with blue around them, but a female. And actually allow them to wear whatever they wanted. They didn't have to wear a skirt.
Yeah.
I haven't worn a skirt in
Oh, God. I don't know.
15 years, maybe, because I don't want to. It doesn't
Yeah, just-
suit my energy. I
Yeah.
don't want it. I
Yeah.
like to have things on
Yeah.
my ankles.
That's like when I was in primary school, I used to wear trousers. I used to wear boys' trousers, actually. And people used to question it again. I mean, they were more easier to wear, I guess. And I went to, my secondary school was a Catholic school. I'm not going to say what school it was. But
No names required.
when I found out that the girls have to wear skirts, I actually cried. And I was like to my mum, I don't want to go to that school. And she was like, I mean, there's no other choice because it's either that or a different school. And I didn't want to go to the other school because that school was... So, yeah. And for years, maybe from when I'm talking, people know what school I'm talking about, but it's fine. For years, people were kind of like protesting and like trying to like speak to the governors and stuff to allow the girls to wear trousers. Didn't work, and I recently found out the girls can now wear trousers.
Hey.
But there's a catch.
A little bit. Oh no.
No,
What's the
there's a
catch?
catch.
There's always a
catch. There's a
What's the
catch.
catch?
So the catch is the girls have to wear a specific type of
Tight
trousers. No, it's not tight. They're straight leg, but it has to have the school logo on it. So the girls are now arguing, but the boys can just go Asda or Tesco's and buy any trousers, but we have to buy these specific trousers that cost X amount. And you know the school trousers are gonna cost a lot more. So obviously now the girls are just gonna stick with wearing the skirt because the skirt and the trousers are basically the same price. And I've already had the skirt from year 9 or whenever, so I might as well just keep what I already have. So it's like you think there's that little bit of progress. But then it's like you said,
they'll put a price on progress.
Exactly.
Isn't that the industry,
they,
right?
then it's like you think, okay, and then boom.
They just take it away.
Yeah.
As soon as they make you happy, they take it away.
It's just taken away. And I was
Little
like,
asterisks.
but they say, but you can wear a tie. Who said I wanted to wear a tie? All I wanted is trousers.
I hated the tie. And you're sitting there dressed like a little dude.
Exactly.
Like, because it is all meant for men. Like, the blazer is literally
It's
the
boxy.
most unflattering thing
Yeah.
I've ever worn in my life. No wonder I look gay. Do you know what I mean? It was like, what else would I do? I had my hair tied
Yeah.
back because it was long. I didn't know what to do with it. I had this giant box, like you mentioned, on me, which is like shoulder pads. And I think they did have shoulder pads as well, didn't they? back
Yeah, they
in-
do.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then you
we
got
were
this-
fortunate to wear a jumper. We just wore a jumper in my school.
I definitely had the option, and we had the tie, which had to be down to where you couldn't have a little. I got lines for wearing my tie too short. Detention as well. My tie was too short, but I managed to wear the trousers. But the trousers are the most disgusting things anyway. So you just look like walking around like a box.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible. And you just start thinking, well, I know school's not meant to express yourself, but at least make us look a little bit less
But
like
a little
target
decent.
practice.
And then
Do you know what I mean?
the teachers used to be like, well, you can just wear 2 pairs of tights while you're standing there in front of me wearing trousers in the winter. Make it make sense. I didn't get it. Yeah. So it's like, it's not fair because then we used to say, well, why did the female teachers allow to wear trousers? Clearly, there's a reason for why they can, so why can't we?
Do as I say, not as I do.
That was
Which
the
is the rule,
answer.
isn't it?
And
Yeah.
it's like, no. I guess. I mean, who knows? Maybe in the next 5 years, I'll hear someone say, we finally can get our trousers from Tesco's and not from the school shop. But, I mean...
It's little things like that make a big difference
it's
from your
true.
youth.
Yeah.
And I say, whatever you grow up with is what you take forward. And you spend years, get to my age, my Jurassic age over here, trying to unpick all these behaviours that you've learned. And you tend to go forward with feelings where you're thinking, right, is that actually my opinion? Or is that something I've been told? Because you say, no, it's not acceptable, I have a fear of this, I have a fear of that. We actually feel that's not actually my opinion. That's what this person told me, or the condition I had from this person saying, no, that's not right. And you're walking around all nervous and worried about how you're expressing yourself. And you realise, actually, that's not even mine. You just kind of get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you have to really work with yourself. And if you're spending all these years, up to 35 crusty little years, you know what I mean? You're sitting there and you're having to undo all your childhood.
Yeah.
And then you look at it thinking, what else did I learn? What else do I
Yeah.
have to really sit with myself and learn about myself? Because you've got to relearn yourself.
Yeah. It's true.
Because you've literally been programmed from the system, from the media, from how you're educated. And don't get me started on education.
Oh, God, yeah.
Being in education, there needs to be much, much more to empower people.
Yeah.
Across the board, for every type of community, there needs to be much more because we don't know enough. We don't have power.
Yeah.
And I say we as human beings, we don't have power.
The media does have a big effect on people's perspective. Again, like across in all communities, because there's that stereotype, like you guys said earlier, being put in a box and you feel like you have to fit into one of those categories.
You need role models. You need role models. You need to see people up there. You need to see people on that stage that you can identify with. No matter who you are, you need to see someone like you. We are all different, but we have similarities. I want to see someone on that stage that looks like me, who's got a history similar to mine.
Yeah.
You're not going to be identical ever. None of us are identical. Every minute we're getting a different experience. We're all different. But on that stage, I want to see someone who I can identify with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to look like me, but you might have to have some kind of similar route to how I've been brought up. Just give me something which I can see this person's got somewhere and they have a voice.
Yeah.
And I can identify with you. Let me have you as my role model. I don't need to have all your money and whatever, won't mind it. But I don't have to have all your fame, but, you know, you never know.
Pass it down.
But just share and care.
Yeah.
It's true.
But it's nice to see it, and it's just annoying when the only person that's you can identify with from your community as such is someone who's nothing like you.
Yeah.
And then everyone sees you must be like this. And what makes it even worse is that there's always something wrong with that person in the actual film or something, or they die first, or they've done something catastrophic.
I think it's like construction and that though. I think it's like plumbing. You know, you can look at it in that sense. If you don't see a lot of women in those roles, you don't feel like you're empowered to get into those roles.
Gotcha.
You know, if you don't see enough people that look like you, sound like you, might have grown up in your area, you know, it doesn't even necessarily have to be that, you know, that is one thing that they resonate with. There can be something that you resonate with that person. And I think sometimes you just have to have that figure and just be able to say, all right, yeah, it's okay to come and be like this. There are these safe spaces. Because there are now, you know, there are a lot more of those safe spaces.
And it's their opinion as well. I feel like, for me, I go back to having Pink as my person I looked up to. Why does everyone laugh when I say that?
You love Pink.
Even when I sing as well, my vocal range sounds like Pink.
Yeah.
So I literally trained myself. But anyway, that.
I love Pink.
But it's her opinion she had. She's politically active. She's very much an ally. She identified with... She said that when she was younger, she didn't know what she was doing. I thought, oh my God, I can relate to you. And she was saying certain things, just always, even attacking the president, not in a physical way, but in a verbal way, questioning what's happening, being the person at the forefront. We need more of that. Yeah. We need people to stop hiding. And it goes across to say any movement that's happening at the moment, whether it's to do with LGBT, whether it's to do with the black community, or anyone who's from a different minority group. Yeah. People need to stand up, and people up there, I say up there as in the limelight, need to stand up and start talking for us. Because they've got a platform that we haven't got. They've got millions. Yeah. Just one positive comment can make a massive change. Yeah. Or it takes a lot of us together, working together, by building communities, building networks, and actually standing up, making events about it. It takes a lot of us to do one big thing, but we can. If we unite on it.
No, there's a lot that you can do. There's a lot that you can do, man. Sorry, I just kind of
go on.
Something just came to my mind. I mean, I ran a festival 2 weeks ago called Inquiring Festival, which was for racially minoritized LGBTQ plus young people. And the only reason why I mention it is because it was all about empowering. Yeah. It was all about getting young people involved, getting them to actually be paid to be a part of the team, and also questioning organisations like Mighty Hoopla, you know, questioning how UK festivals can be more diverse and inclusive, questioning how you bring young people into those spaces and create safer spaces, you know. And we had people we had a gay black man tuning from Uganda. We had a bisexual non-binary person from Atlanta tune in. You know, we went international with just this one little thing, and it just goes to show you that all it takes is one initiative, or all it takes is one idea to just go, I'm going to make this happen. You know, you don't need a crowd behind you. If you know in your heart that you're being true to yourself, you are paving the way for other people without even realising it.
You're a leader, and someone has to lead somewhere, or you'll go around in circles.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
To kind of follow up on, obviously, you talking about diversity, and earlier you was talking about, but due to your background, how do you feel that progression? Do you feel like there's a bit more progression towards ethnic minorities and having acceptance towards the LGBT?
I feel like talking about racially minoritized community as a whole would be very difficult.
Oh,
because but I can speak on, like, I'm from a Turkish Cypriot Muslim background. Okay. So in Cyprus, it oddly was not as unnormal to see like trans people, because that was something that just kind of, it was more normal to be trans than almost be lesbian or gay or bisexual or anything like that. And I think that even now, it's still very difficult. There are people out there, there's the first ever Pride or something tried to happen this year, which got locked off with a very small group of people. I think sometimes what people don't realise is there's the southern side of Cyprus and there's the northern side of Cyprus, whereas Ain Napa, which everyone would know, is on the southern side, and they're a lot more advanced in the way they think. They also are predominantly a Christian side of the island, whereas the Turkish side is more Muslim orientated. So in Islam, it's a sin to be in same-sex relationships. So for me, I think that it's still a challenge. You know, I still go to, you know, I went somewhere with my partner recently to see my grandparent my grandma had come from Cyprus, and said, "This is my friend." And that was me thinking, oh, I've just got to respect you to even do that.
Yeah.
But the reality was that I know in her heart she knew that wasn't my friend.
Yeah.
I know that wasn't my friend.
Yeah.
But because of the cultural background I come from, there's certain things that I will still do to try and make it more comfortable for the older generation who've never really been exposed to that world of LGBTQ plus people and what that consists of, or, you know, and they might have done, but because people weren't open and out there about it, they didn't really get to understand it. You know, you can't hate on something you don't understand, but you got to take the time to understand it as well. And I feel like, honestly, and I don't know if everyone would agree with me, I just feel like sometimes with the LGBTQ plus community, it can be really forced upon people to almost accept the community. And it can almost be like they're angry at everyone. But how can you be angry at people that have never been exposed to that life? Yeah. You know, if you was born on an island and there was no one on that island, how would you feel being around humans? Yeah. You know, so I feel like coming from an informative, educational point of view is always a better way. You know, trying to empower your own community that, you know, that's oppressed, and make them acknowledge that by behaving the way they're behaving, they're only oppressing an oppressed society. Yeah. You know, it's already difficult probably coming from racially minoritized backgrounds. That's not to say that certain white people also don't have struggles. Yeah. You know, I feel like white is categorized as one box as well, and it's really not. Yeah. You know, it was no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. I think people forget that sometimes, you know, and I can preach, you know, I can go on, but the reality is that I just think we need to come from a point of view where we can try and educate people more, and we can try and explain to people that no question is a silly question. Yeah. If you want to ask something and you genuinely don't know the answer to that, why shouldn't you ask it? Yeah. But there's also a respectful way of asking that question, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think with, just to sort of comment on the white side, my background is white. I've got European far back, but not so much. But in a sense that it's the old ways of seeing things. Like, it was never known, no one from my mum, my dad, they didn't have anyone around them that was any which way inclined. Grandparents, definitely not. So it took me up till I was 30 years old before I introduced any partner to my dad. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those, plenty of things had gone on before that, but but to the point I actually invite her to come to see my dad, and it was obviously the kind of Christmas or birthdays kind of thing. And it was very much it was really hard to do. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Yeah. And it was, I don't know if it was shame, I don't know whether it was, I don't know what it was, but it took me so long to do it. And my granddad, even worse. Yeah. He come from the, always been in a very white community, always been in a very straight community, and there was no difference. And he was quite racist, or he is quite racist, he's still here, but, bless him, sorry. But he still was quite racist, doesn't mean to be, but words that come out, and homophobic words come out, and you're just like, he can't control himself, he doesn't know how to stop it. Things have just been conditioned in his way, so it's his conditioning, which he can't help, it's his program. We're like computers, do you know what I mean? That program doesn't work with that program. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's true. I mean, what you do,
and they like you said, it's like Mac versus Windows. Do you know what I mean? They're not speaking to each other. You can make a hybrid, and we need to start making more hybrids. But the way it is at the moment, the old Windows ain't working with the Macs. Calling myself a Mac because it's the most tech and creative one, obviously. No offense, no offense to Windows, but they're very, very old processing machines. Do you know what I mean? They're old. They can innovate. They can try. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my opinion of that as well.
How do you guys feel, obviously, like, in the community in a whole, a lot of people do kind of look at, obviously there's a big difference between being gay and a lesbian. Obviously there's one big factor. Yeah, but a lot of people say that it's easier to be a lesbian. And I put that in quotations because I want to know you guys' opinion on that.
Well, I would say, forgive me for saying this, but it's based on the porn industry. Yeah. Based on the, it's that, isn't it? The porn industry, the sexualization, people accept women on women, because women are very sensual, very intimate beings. They're very touchy-feely. Like, this is me generalising what people see as a stereotype. This is not every woman, clearly. But they tend to see women as very nurturing, very caring, very huggy, very nice. And people will find that attractive. And when they see two women together, they don't see that as a problem. And I think that's kind of it. And then it's very sexualised. There is specific channels, I'm sure, of that. And it's very much put into that industry. Whereas men on men, people don't accept. And I think that's where it stems out, that probably is easier for women in the main thing, like men's acceptance. I think women. I think I might be going off on a row here, but I think women accept homosexuality more. I'd say so. I feel like that. I'm speaking in a generalisation.
Yeah.
This is from my perspective only.
Yeah.
I feel like women accept it more because they are more nurturing. They are more sort of huggy feely, like I said.
Yeah.
Whereas men can accept that from a female. They couldn't accept that from a man.
Yeah.
Because men are supposed to be tough and not wanting attention or affection. All these kind of things are supposed to be tough, according to society, clearly.
Yeah.
And they don't accept that. Why are these two men being soft and squidgy?
Yeah.
Why are they being like that? What is this? Men are supposed to be tough. And that's kind of it. And I feel like it's going against the norms. And I think in that basis, just because of what is the sexualization of it, it is just to do with the sex. It is literally just to do with the sex.
Yeah.
That is it. It's nothing to do with the people, nothing to do with their identity. And now, if I jump on this one, it's feminine females and feminine females
Yeah.
that they'll find more interesting.
Yeah.
That's
why I asked
this
the
is my
question as
perspective.
well,
So if
yeah.
you've got two feminine lipstick lesbians, as I like to call them, or femmes, them, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if you have someone who's not so feminine looking, then, oh no, that's not right.
Yeah.
Or they look more like a man.
Yeah.
Why don't that person go with the man instead?
Yeah.
That's the comment that comes after it.
Yeah.
So going back to the question, it can be if people are thinking only sexually.
Yeah.
But in a gentle acceptance of it, I
Yeah.
don't think there's too much difference.
Okay.
How
I
do you
agree.
feel?
I agree. I think that with everything that you said, I agree. I always say it. It's the way, lesbians are viewed is very sexualized. It's got a lot to do with the pornography industry. It's got a lot to do with just the way people are kind of brought up as young boys and men a lot of the time, with the peer pressure around their friends and whatever else. It's weird because this question actually came up in the event that I done a couple of weeks ago, and the panelists were trying to best answer it, and it was very difficult because it's very hard to talk from a gay man's perspective when you're not gay and you're not a man.
Yeah.
It's
I agree with that.
it's a bit difficult, and I never want to talk on someone's life that I'm definitely not, and I think every gay man's experience individually is different as well.
We can't paint this by your experience. You can't live alone. So
exactly.
no one in this room's got the same experience. From the minute we woke up this morning, it was different.
Exactly. And I think that gay men have it hard. I think that lesbian women have it hard as well. I think that after a while, they might get a couple of comments on the street, gay men, from what I've seen. This is all based on what I've seen. Yeah. But, they might get some comments made to them, or they might not show any form of PDA. They might come across more like friends or whatever it is. So they don't necessarily get a lot of grief from people. When they do show PDA or do show in any way that they're together or whatever, or interested, they get a lot of hate. Whereas I feel like it's a bit unfair for lesbian women to be made to feel as though their relationship is invalid. Yeah. It's invalid because a man is not involved in it. Yeah. And I think that can have real detriment to someone's psychological well-being and lots of well-being. And I think it also takes a toll on the relationship itself of that thing around sexual identity, what makes you more like this or like that. I think personally, everyone has hard experiences. Yeah. Gay, straight, black, purple, orange, Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, whatever, and everyone else I didn't mention. I love you. I think we all genuinely have our own pros and cons to being who we are, which is just the world we live in.
Because something is not accepted by somebody.
Unfortunately.
And there's an opinion
Somewhere.
from someone.
But there's always someone who
opinion.
does accept it as well, and you've got to remember that.
But it's finding that community.
Exactly.
If my main thing of this one, just for a sort of wrap-up thing, is find out who you can speak to.
Yeah.
Find out who your allies are safe, and if it's someone who's not from your same background or same preferences, there are allies out there. There are people that will support you. There's support networks. There's people like you put on huge events for it. There's people who are trying to open up and be a platform to contact and be in touch with. But finding those, use what we've got, which is social media, which is the hugest thing in the world at the moment, taking over, and it did throughout our current situation in life. But we've got it at our fingertips, literally. So to be able to then use that to connect with people, find people you can speak to, and connect with, and try and just feel comfortable being you. Find people that allow you to be you. Whether it's your own self and your expressions, find people who are similar to you or will encourage you to be the best version of you.
Yeah, and
I've
just to
pull you down.
Just to wrap that up, if that's all right, I just wanted to say as well was that if you're out there and you go and you try and find that community and the first one doesn't work, don't feel like every community is like that. I think that 100%. Really makes people end up being quite closed up for many years and not ever wanting to go out. There's mean people everywhere, there's nice people everywhere, you know, and don't base it based on the people that are there. Base it based on the event, the workshop, the thing that you're attending, the people that have put it together, and go to different things, you know, be open to going to different things. And remember that a lot of these events, a lot of people go individually, and there are actually schemes to get people to meet you at the train station, you know, to meet someone, buddy up with someone. Don't ever feel like just because I don't have a crowd with me to help me get into this community, I can't get into it. You can get into it, and everyone will welcome you with open arms. And it's not exclusive, you know, it's not exclusive.
I feel like that's a great way to end. So thank you guys. Your advice and your experiences and everything has been very helpful and very lovely to hear.
And nice where you can find us.
Yes, that's what I was just about to ask.
So
if you guys could just let us know where we can find you, and we'll obviously add that in.
You can start again this way again.
Okay, all right. Instagram, PETOK, PETOK_PEM. And yeah, just PETOK Productions, PETOK_Productions. If you are a woman or non-binary person out there working behind the scenes, screens or lens, sign up to the world's first ever database of its kind.
Hey. And for me, you can look under me my artist name, which is VELYSII. You can Google it, everything comes up. It's a very strange word, I made it up. So you're only going to find me. That's it. As long as you spell it right. VELYSII.
Okay, and thank you guys again. And we will definitely keep in contact with you guys. And I hope you have a nice evening.
We have a lovely evening too, Savannah. It sounds like you need that lovely evening.
Literally.
And breathe.
Yeah, and breathe.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.